Ty Brady here with Brady Insurance Marketing and the Ty Brady Way. As a successful entrepreneur myself, I'm passionate in helping other entrepreneurs do the same as they rise from rags to riches and get inspired each week on the stories they tell here at the Ty Brady Way. Welcome to the show. I'd like to welcome Joe Black to the show. Great friend of mine. You know, I got to know him on some couple retreats, and I got to tell you a little story. One thing I admired is we were walking through the rainforest, and Joe says, "Hey, I got to get on a call with my coach." And you know, I think a lot of people underestimate what coaches do, and they're usually a sound of reasoning. You know, I've used coaches over the years, but it's that sounding board, and they get you out of your rut, or they may say, "Hey, Joe, have you tried this or tried that?" But you know what? He's like, "Yeah, I got a call." He got on it, and he was talking to him as we were going through the rainforest. So, but Joe, you know, tell the audience a little about what you do. And I told him a little bit about what you did when I got to know you, and missed you this year, by the way, on the couples retreat.
Yeah. I'm Joe Black, Keller, Williams, Salt Lake City. I've been licensed since 2016, so 8 years now. Something I always add to that, though, is I've been swimming longer than Michael Phelps. If you hear somebody's done something for 20 years but only done 10 transactions, does that count as experience?
Yeah.
So I remember that call in the rainforest, actually, as hiking, trying to keep up with you guys and talk on the phone out of breath.
Yeah.
Spotty reception. But coaching, you're right. It's important. Life's too short to reinvent the wheel, right? So if there's already a proven business model you can copy, do it.
Yeah. I had a little coaching call with a gentleman. He's like, "Ty, I'm in a rut." And he did his appointments basically like this. He would, Monday and Tuesday, he set up all of his appointments. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he would then go and do all his appointments.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's no more time. And I simply said one thing. I said, "Have you thought about hiring a virtual assistant to book your appointments?" Mm-hmm. And he doubled his production in that simple thing. And he never thought of it.
Yep.
He's like, it wasn't a big old long conversation, but it was like, well, if you're spending 8 hours a day for 2 days or 10 hours to try and book your week, let someone else do that.
They say the next level of any business is just one great hire away. I absolutely believe in that one. In fact, I think I told you on my podcast where I believe in the Henry Ford model, where when I need a degree, I'm going to hire one.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to know how to do taxes. That's just not me. So I will just hire a CPA, handle that side of my business for sure.
We were just talking about that because I've had the guy that was just on the show. He does Google. That's his thing. He's very, very, very good with Google. And I've had other people on the show that are really good at like YouTube. And what I've noticed is they've stayed in their niche or their lane. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not branching out trying to do all for everybody, but they're very, very successful in those little niches.
Yeah. Definitely fine tune what you're good at.
Well, Joe, how did you get into selling real estate? I don't think anybody ever grows up saying, "Hey, I want to be a real estate agent."
Yeah, and I definitely don't want that on my tombstone either.
Okay.
I originally got into it because going through a long, hard story, divorce and financial problems, ended up falling back to my parents' house back
been there
2011 or so. And my way out was buying a duplex so that the tenant offset my debt to income ratio to make the payment. And when I realized by the time the tenant pays their rent, I only had to come up with like $300 in my own money for the mortgage. And I realized the potential of freedom there. Like, I could be on a beach making money if I had enough of these rentals to pay all my bills, right?
Yeah.
And so I originally became a realtor so that I could find those deals better and pull my own comps. But it really didn't take too long to appreciate the value and the killer feeling it gave me to help other people achieve that freedom themselves. And one of the glass ceilings I think all of us business owners have to go through is the old ideal that's instilled into us from growing up, where money makes you evil. It only amplifies who you already are.
Yes.
So if you're a giving person, how could money help you do that better? Right.
Give more.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a firm believer that if you want more, give more.
Yep.
And I mean, absolutely. But there's a lot of people that, you know, it's a service first, right? Mm-hmm. The service then it's the money follows.
I agree. In fact, with this whole new NAR thing you've heard about on the news, the lawsuit, that's kind of where me and everyone in my office is coming from, is we're just going to lead by value. It was never, if it's about the people first, the money will follow. You know what I mean? Just, we're going to keep plugging away, doing what we've always done. And in Utah, we've been doing that pretty well.
So you get into real estate. My goal was, my background's in construction. My goal was to build a house every 2 years. Mm-hmm. So by 10 years, I would either keep the house, maintain the house, and then by 10 years, my 10th house was paid for. Mm-hmm. Then the floor fell out in 2008, similar to yours, and I was able to maintain 2 houses, and all the rest of them I had to give up. But even the personal house I lived in, so I relate when you say I had to go live with my parents. I did that for 4 years, and I thought my wife was going to kill me. But I mean, there was days that she'd be like, "We got to get out of here," but financially, I didn't know where to go. I couldn't, but we had luckily dug out of that hole. And then we were able to get it. We bought a short sale, and then we renovated it, and then just sky's from the limit from there. But do you still have rentals then?
I do. So I did what I call real estate blackjack. It's just kind of a term I coined, where I know when to split my hand. So when that duplex reached a point where I had enough equity to sell it and then turn around and buy 2 single family homes, that's what I did.
Okay.
So I split my hand on that one, and I still own both of those. I love my tenants. They're great. So I don't have any intention to sell those ones anytime soon, but they're both at that point where I could do it again.
With rentals, it's that up and down. I've gotten burned one time in a house I had. The tenant had a great job, went through a divorce, trashed my place. $10,000 in renovations just to get it up to just to get it re-rented. Mm-hmm. But luckily, the renters I've had since then, golden. I mean, I think they take care of them better than I do.
Yeah.
And they have no intention of leaving. I'm like,
right. Yeah, that's where mine are at too. And I go a little bit further when I'm accepting a tenant. I'll Facebook stalk them.
Oh.
And if they've got memes on their wall saying stuff like, "You don't know me till I let you walk in my shoes," they're not a good tenant. They don't take responsibility in their lives. So, and the best part is if they have a friend in common that you can reference and ask them if they would rent to them, and then let the tenant know, hey, they said that they'd rent to you. It makes them want to keep their status quo and do well with the terms of the agreement. So,
background checks are coming more and more important. I mean, I know that I don't property manage the rentals I have. I have another company do it, mm-hmm. but they do the credit scores and all those things. They'll do their reference people. But I mean, and you talk about social media. I mean, I'm coaching these young athletes and I'm telling them, listen, do not be posting dumb stuff because you can't take it down. Right.
Yeah.
And I've listened to coaches saying, it's 7th grade or 6th grade, something you posted then could potentially wreck you getting a scholarship to play. You may be the most talented athlete, the most skilled, and they're going to pass you up as soon as they see something negative on your social media platform.
They'll dig way back too.
Yeah, that's right.
We recently had a class at Keller Williams. There's a super smart chick there. Her name's Kimber Walton, and she calls it the Glow Up series. And that was one of the segments of her class is we went back and cleaned up old business pages and, got rid of anything that could have been stupid to post in a younger state of mind or whatever. So it's pretty important.
It's really, really important. So, real estate's kind of, what would you characterize the state of the real estate market today, right now?
So I pulled a quick stat this morning, actually. And in all of Utah, in any type of house, so it's pretty generic, just Utah based in any market. It's a 60-day inventory. And
any range?
Yeah, so all of Utah.
Okay.
That's single family, that's condos, that's everything.
Okay.
And the median sold price is $610,000. The median list price is $620,000. So it's high 90s percentile in sold to list price ratio. Also, with the 60 days inventory, that is still a pretty strong seller's market. If 4 to 6 months is a balanced market and anything over 6 months is a buyer's market, 2 months is pretty good. I think what happened is people got used to 2020,
Yeah.
which is a unicorn that will never happen again. It's like a bad X.
Okay.
You know, it was fun while it lasted, but you gotta let that go because it's not sustainable. Those interest rates aren't coming back.
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty healthy market, especially when you look at like a 40-year history. Our interest rates today are average.
Yeah.
So,
I tell people, you know, what would you tell somebody that's looking to get in a house today?
especially first-time buyers.
Yeah.
Don't have champagne taste on a beer budget.
What do you mean by that?
You have to appreciate that your first home is not your forever home. And what we see is a lot of people that want the perfect house now. And if they're not seeing it or qualifying for it, they're waiting. But what happens is appreciation's going up faster than their income.
Mm-hmm.
And so I use the term don't miss the bus. Get something now, hold on to it. In 2 years, you can sell it, take your equity, or, you know, obviously time the market. If in 2 years it doesn't make sense, don't do it then. But take the equity and get something you really like later. Just get something now, you know. Like you said, you could turn it into a rental.
Yes.
And then that would offset your debt to income ratio to buy another one. And especially where companies are phasing out of having pensions and Social Security probably won't be around.
Yeah.
But rentals is an excellent way to sustain your retirement.
The first home that my wife and I bought was a condo, and it was right after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little bit before 9/11. So there was about another house after 9/11, but I think we paid $48,000 for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a stretch to get into it, but we went in and renovated it. I mean, we sold it because we had to build another house. But I mean, to this day, I can't imagine that house I bought. It's probably $200,000 today, you know, or more.
You'd probably be surprised. In fact, if you want to just for fun, have me look it up today.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I gotta remember the ad, but it was great. You know, it's where, you know, daughter was born and all those types of things. But it was I remember that was just getting into something. That's a good point. Just get into something. It's not your forever home. I mean, it is. When you say the medium list price is $610,000, $620,000, that seems like a lot. But again, it's not going to go to the way it was.
No.
And
what people got to appreciate is if house prices come down, it's because interest rates have gone up. And so your payment is higher for less house, right? If interest rates go down, then house prices go up, and you're back in a bidding war paying $30,000 above. And right now you don't have to do that. You don't have to waive your rights to due diligence or financing and appraisal. And we're getting seller paid concessions, which can help permanently buy down that interest rate. So free game plan never hurt anybody. That's like my biggest thing is just see where you're at and make a plan. You don't want to miss that bus.
Don't want to miss it at all. Where do you see the next 5-10 years going for you?
For me or for the market?
Both. You personally and then the market.
I'm going to keep plugging away and keep trying to obtain more rentals and helping families achieve that financial freedom.
Yeah.
Think about it. A house is one of the very few things that can be paid off and still be going up in value. And let's say for easy math, you buy a $400,000 house. The average rate of your values going up is 4% per year. And that's national average. So next year, that house is worth $416,000. Whereas if you took like $30,000 and put it in the stock market, you'd have an ROI on $30,000. But if you bought a $400,000 house, you'd have an ROI on $400,000. So it's just a way better way to leverage your money. So that's where I'm headed. And then with the market, I see it at least plateauing. It wasn't sustainable for 2020 to keep, like in 2021, we went up 28% appreciation in 1 year in Utah. That's obviously not sustainable. There were some things put in place after the last crash to help prevent another crash from happening. And one of those things is the debt to income ratio. Nowadays, if you're told you're approved for a house, it's based on 50% of your debt to income ratio. That includes all the other things you have on debt. Your
That's credit cards, cars,
and your new house payment can't be over 50%.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
If you're told you're approved, you really are. And for most people, they just got to quit going to Starbucks. Back in the day when we bought our first houses, they do 100% and God forbid your car breaks down.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a safer market. And what people don't appreciate is even if it did crash again, if you look at before the crash and now, it's still that 45-degree angle of appreciation with that big dip in 2008 in the middle. It recovers. So like I wouldn't sell in 2008, but definitely they say it's never a bad time to buy real estate and wait.
Yes.
The only time that matters is when you sell. So just get with a smart agent that can help you with the market. And obviously nobody has a crystal ball.
No.
Nobody can predict anything. And you can see what the market is when it's important to you.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, there's a lot of talk in the media right now about these big investment companies buying, subdivisions, literally, and leasing and renting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? It's
a very real problem. That's why I'm really advocating for people to get at least the home they live in, own it. They are turning them into rentals. They're called REITs. There's companies like BlackRock that are doing it. I definitely want to have my fair share of home ownership for sure. Something that I've thought about, I was talking to my wife, is that, how are our kids even able to afford a house? Yeah. Or even have an opportunity to build a house. If we've got all these subdivisions owned by big corporate companies, how do they break in? So at the economic forecast breakfast, they said we may need to build a war chest for our kids. And that's meaning you. Yeah. Or you, anybody. With the appreciation going up faster than incomes. Yeah. Right. Like you should definitely have some rentals that your kids may need to live in someday. Or that you could sell to help them buy. Get into something. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely have a war chest for them. Especially with millennials now, we're trying to tell them that, home ownership is the way to go. You're going to pay to live anyways. Sure. And when you own it, every time you make a payment, it's like putting money in the bank, right? You're paying down your principal and then you have appreciation. And you have control. Yeah. You want to paint it. You want to rip out the yard, going back to that freedom line, right? Yeah. Like, you want to paint the house and you're renting, you can't. You want to get a dog and you're renting, probably can't. Like, definitely have the control. And if you don't want to stay in Utah forever, fine. Turn it into a rental if the market's bad, or sell it if it's good. Yeah. What is driving people to buy a house today? Is it move-ins? Is it downsizing? What's driving them? Well, we talked about that a little bit on my podcast. We talked about the silver wave. Yes. Right. So it's all ends of that spectrum. There's a lot of younger people that don't own yet, and there's a lot of old people that are downsizing. They're getting rid of their house that they've had their kids in. Yeah. And so we are up over last year at this time with inventory, available houses to buy. And yet we're still low. That's why we're still in a 2-month market. So, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. I'm in the insurance business, helping people that are baby boomers, and then you're in selling them houses. And I've seen it where it seems that they're a little bit more transient. They're either going to where their kids are, because they want to be close to grandkids, or they're going to back home, or they are literally just wanting to downsize and, get something smaller, maybe a house they could pay cash for. So they're selling their bigger house, pay cash so that they can legitimately live on Social Security. And the same thing, I've had people come to me that are on Social Security like, Ty, I want to get in this industry because I need extra income to go golfing. It's not enough. With inflation going the way that it is, they've got to do something. Yeah. And how could rentals help if you had some cash flow? Yes, that's right. It only amplifies who you already are, right? That's right. Joe, I appreciate being on the show today. Any last thoughts you'd like to have to leave with the audience? I think we covered it all. Get that free game plan. See where you're at. How do they find you? I'm all over social, Joe Black Realtor. Also, I'm at Keller Williams, Salt Lake City. Google that. Google Joe Black Realtor. I'll pop up. That's great. Last thoughts? Well, that's it, man. Thanks for having me. Hey, you're welcome, man. My pleasure. And always share, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Ty Brady Way. As always, share, like, and subscribe. Go to Instagram at ty.r.brady. And as always, love hearing from you. And let me know what you want to learn on the show or what you'd like me to bring up on the show. Thanks.
You can find the Ty Brady Way on Instagram as well as Facebook. To stay connected with giveaways and Ty himself, go ahead and follow at ty.r.brady on Instagram as well as Facebook. This podcast was recorded, edited, and produced by Whitney Faith Media Marketing. And the theme music is an excerpt from Hot Chicken of the Woods by Isaac Joel.